I have a terrible story.
Yeah,
Do you want to hear it?
of course.
So I heard movement in the tree the other night and I went outside and I thought it was a possum. And so I shook the tree and 2 rats fell out of it. Hello, Budjirigama from the Gadigal Lands in Sydney. It's Simon Thomsen, editor of StartupDaily.net and
Majella Campbell, CEO of Fishburners.
And welcome to Startup 360, our weekly podcast where we talk founder fun more than founder mode with fabulous founders. And this week, let's get straight into it because I'm very excited.
I'm so excited.
Who's our guest?
Got Preethi Mohan, who is the founder of Nice2 and the co-founder of Press Play Ventures and the award winner of
The winner of the
Get Shit Done
GSD
Award.
Absolutely, at the Startup Daily Best in Tech Awards. We're going to, as I said, keep getting in the finalists and the winners from the awards. We could spend all year doing that, given there are 50 plus finalists, and we're changing the format a little bit too. So we're not doing the 10X, the rapid fire questions. We'll spend a little bit longer diving deeper into the souls of the people we're speaking to. So Preethi's our only guest today. So let us know what you think about that because we'd be keen to hear. But before we go any further, I do want to say that Startup 360 is supported by Vanta, helping startups unlock marketed opportunities through automated compliance. So thank you to them. Let's do our Vanta banter.
I'm excited.
Some great news this week. Heidi Health, congratulations, $98 million in a Series B raise, which puts their valuation above $700 million. Apparently it's like more than quadrupled in just a matter of months because they did raise 20 million plus earlier this year.
Yeah.
So incredible for that business, which is really making healthcare more accessible because doctors, clinicians are able to work a little bit faster in terms of not spending time on admin so they can spend more time with the patients.
Such a practical solution to a very, very important problem and love to see it. Even when I saw it come through, I had to double take. I was like, didn't they just raise? And they did.
They did.
So
yes,
great.
I think the last one was a Series A back in March.
Mm-hmm.
The initial Series A was in October 2023. Then they topped up with an extra 27 mil in March. And Blackbird's in there again. They've got a really good cap table, I have to say. I love the story, though, that, one of the co-founders, Dr. Thomas Kelly, was originally sort of working as a resident and he kind of saw the pain and what he was doing, and he's decided, well, I'm just going to go off and solve this problem for everyone else in the process. And it's getting smarter and smarter. There's the headcount's now above 200. They've got offices in the USA, UK, and Canada, across EU as well. They're in Asia, so they really are absolutely knocking it out of the park. They've got so many good people involved. They got Microsoft's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Simon Koz, has joined them in the CMO role. Medical, not marketing. And they also got from Salesforce and played revenue boss Paul Williamson on as Chief Revenue Officer. So they are going hard at the moment, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I love the community round as well, offering it out to the doctor users.
That's a really clever piece of engagement, that one. Sort of they're doing another extra 5 mil where everyone who believes in what they're doing and our users can get on board for that one. But it's not the only big raise this week. And my favourite part about this one on Wednesday is it happened on World Octopus Day.
Did it really?
It is. On the 8th of October is World Octopus Day, and Octopus Deploy, which was a Brisbane sleeper of a startup for such a long time until its first major capital raise after more than a decade, has just banked another $45 million.
Wow. Incredible.
Pretty wild. Now, they did sort of fly, they're from Brisbane, did fly under the radar because they bootstrapped for such a long time and were profitable. They've now got more than 300 employees and 4,000 customers. And it's been interesting because they, first of all, Insight Partners came on board with $223 million back in 2021. And since then, they've really gone into scale mode. Yes, they haven't always been profitable, but the revenues are strong from what's been revealed. And they seem to be just going great husband and wife team and having a really, really strong go. So they're kind of heading, in the right direction as an amazing global business, but only pop up occasionally. It's kind of like an octopus coming out from underneath the rocks and just having search around.
It's well fitting. The octopus theme here is great.
Yes, their tentacles are spreading everywhere. Boom, boom. And the other one that caught my eye, because it was Charlotte Connell, I have to thank, who got in touch with me on Friday, and I published an op-ed from her about the $5 billion net zero fund. Because it's all a little bit weird because the government announced it and it sits under the NRF, but it all happened just before the long weekend, and they've got 2 weeks for people to put in consultations on it. So you'll find a piece on Startup Daily. The headline is Why Australia's $5 billion net zero fund needs to be more than an incentive for mining billionaires to do better. Because one of the points she makes is often this money goes towards people who probably have got enough cash in the bank if they really want to change their habits to be able to do it. And her argument is that capital plays a catalytic role. So they should be looking at where the money should be going, and people need to get in and have their say. She's now the Innovation and Investment Director at Greenhouse, is on the board of Surfers for Climate. What a cool bit to be. But in there are links to the submission template. You've got until October 15 to say something. And she's got the link in the op-ed as well on the Net Zero Fund. Have your say about what the government should be doing with this money, because it shouldn't go to the usual suspects, is the message.
Great.
And have you spent any time on LinkedIn in the last week?
I've perused a little around.
And any thoughts on rent-seeking leeches?
Plenty of thoughts.
So apparently, major festival on in Sydney next week. It's Rent-Seeking Leech Week, an event that Jessie Wu has put together. Of course, the PR and outspoken person in Australia's startup sector. She took to LinkedIn last week with some issues with South by Southwest. A little bit of irony, given that she was on stage at the very first one, but she really ripped into them, saying, and I quote, "Few things make my blood boil as much as SXSW, Sydney, South by Southwest Sydney. Fair question, I'm killing time on the Murray's bus, so strap in for a rant." She talks about it. And her point is, there's a lot of backing from so many people, especially the government, whose previous government put in more than $12 million into it, which in the context of discussions we've been having about supporting startups is a fair bit. The current Labor government is continuing to support it, maybe seeing out the contract, who knows. But she went off, absolutely teed off about it. Interestingly, more than 1,000 responses, around 200 comments, got a run on Innovation Oz as well. James Riley picked up on it. And then so she's put in an unaffiliated event in Chippendale, the Rent-Seeking Leech Week, and putting 5,000 on the bar. And then I sort of chimed into her commentary and said, you can put 5,000 into our local startup event, which is coming up in a couple of weeks, Spark Festival. And that will make a huge difference because Investment New South Wales is not backing them anymore, sadly. And, it will make a big difference because it's an event that's free for everyone. But it did spark a lot of interesting conversations. One of the things I didn't know is that you have to pay to enter the startup pitch competition as a startup.
You have to pay for everything.
You have to pay for everything.
That's on top of your tickets, on top of, even to engage as like a supporter, an event partner, you'd have to pay as well. So it's definitely, I think as well, it's got a lot of response for a reason. I don't think that's any denial there.
I think that's probably the surprise. Jessie, likes to have strong opinions, but I think quite a few people were caught by surprise by just the visceral reaction to her comments and the fierce agreement. And there seems to be a lot of dissatisfaction from the startup sector with this particular event. I have to confess, I've got a free ticket to go as media this year. I'll be going along for a day or two to have a look. I was part of it last year. I presented last year. We talked about, being a founder and running a family at the same time, and that was a really powerful experience, and I was very proud of what we did with that. But one observation I would make is I think it's a commercial event that has a strong brand because of what it does in the US, where a lot of goodwill from the sector is sucked into this particular thing to improve the bottom line for a private equity-owned business. And I'm not sure in the collaborative mindset that this startup ecosystem has, it quite fits in the way that everyone would hope. And when you look at what they're doing at Spark and have been for more than a decade on the smell of an oily rag, which really helps early stage founders and many others, and the goodwill that's there, I think it's created quite a complex discussion about, you know, what direction do we want to take things in when it comes to events and what is supported.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I mean, credit where credit's due. I think South by Southwest is a great catalyst for creating a lot of activity in Sydney, whether, you know, who's involved or what. We've got lots of unaffiliated events there. It's got so many people are going there. I mean, for us at Fishburners, like, we offer discounted tickets to our members to try and make that a little bit easier, but there's value for people to be there. And I think that's really important to, first of all, recognize. But I think as well, I always just reflect back and say, imagine how powerful this could be if the barriers to entry were lower. I think this would have so much opportunity to really bring all the right people together, make the events 10, 12, 15 times better just by making it easier for people, have the right people engaged. Every business has this challenge, I think, about, you know, balancing monetization with, you know, impact and being able to give back and be able to make it the event or invest in the quality of what you're producing through your customers. But
because a few days later, Jessie did go to an Inner West Council meeting and then meditated on capitalism and the profit motive. So I think she's on board with the idea that you can make money out of this. But I suppose in the end, it comes down to the balance between give and take.
And also, I would say the thing here is about the funding.
Yep.
If you've got the cash behind you, do you need more?
Anyway,
I don't know the business, by the way.
Yep.
I don't know how much it costs. I can imagine the cost will be quite high as well. So
it's a major event all the way across the International Convention Centre here in Sydney, and there are so many different aspects to it. I think probably for me the hardest part is it's huge in so many different ways with so many different streams. There's a lot going on, so picking your way through it in a clever way. I remember a couple of years ago someone did a spreadsheet just to be able to figure out what was going on. But anyway, if you're interested, have a look at Jessie's posts on LinkedIn. She's maximising the value out of this and did make a joke about having a couple of new clients. Rent-seeking Leech Awareness Week, and the words loathsome and rancid, which she did apply to a certain festival coming up next week as well. Maybe I'll see you there. But
I will be there.
Should we get Preethi in and have a chat about all her amazing adventures?
I can't wait. Let's do it.
Right, we'll be right back. Don't go away, and we'll be chatting with Preethi.
Welcome back to Startup 360. We are joined with Preethi Mohan, founder of Nice2 and co-founder of Press Play Ventures. Welcome.
An award winner, yay!
Of course, award winner of the Get Shit Done award.
It was.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for Press Play. Well done to you
Thank
and
you.
the team. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me here, and thank you for the award. We were stoked and we were really surprised. Not that we didn't think we deserved it, but it was just we were against some incredible candidates.
Well, we'll get to that in this conversation, but tell us your story.
Oh,
What's a nice girl like you doing in startups around here?
well, a nice girl like me finished university and gave her 2 years in corporate to start a business. And then fast forward 12 years, she was working at Google. When she left uni, she said, I want to start a company like Google.
Oh,
But
wow.
then, yeah, I know, no small ambitions here.
So you went into Google for a reverse takeover.
Well, no, I went into Google because I was in the corporate wheel and I couldn't get out. And then it was at Google that I kind of had an epiphany and I was like, what am I doing here working as one of 120,000 employees? I really want to be doing my own business. And then I realized we did a conversation for high school students. And I was telling them I wanted to start a company like Google. That's when it hit me like a ton of bricks. And then Google have these amazing things. They have tech talks and they have tech week where you do a hackathon all week. Oh my God, let me tell you, that was the best week of my corporate career. And soon after the hackathon, I decided, okay, I'm quitting corporate cold turkey and jumping ship into startups. So that was December 2019. January 2020.
Perfect time to leave work.
Oh, I know. I know. Actually, it was great because I feel like the world kind of got into chaos and so did my life. And it was like cathartic. So it was excellent.
Yep.
So I jumped ship. I actually did 3 startups that people probably don't know much about, and they all went different ways. One was a MarTech, another one was a media tech, and then the third one was health tech.
What led you down those paths? I mean, let's go back to Google. What were you doing? Were you sort of handing paperwork around, or were you, when not inspiring kids and jumping to the programs that are meant to be for people outside of Google, what were you up to?
So I was actually getting more money for YouTube and Google advertising from the largest customers in Australia. So all the big names.
Oh, wow.
And
Heavy hitter.
yeah, it was a fun role. But I was like, okay, what's the actual impact I'm making? And so, yeah, I feel like that was my midlife crisis, but I wasn't old enough to be midlife then, hopefully.
Look, I think you build towards moments, and you were building towards being startup founder. So let's go back. Idea 1, what happened?
So idea 1 was a MarTech. So it was actually, so in Google, we used to run experiments for ads to look at the creative effectiveness of ads, because that was really hard to measure. And so it was a manual process that we did, and we used to turn them into case studies to present to the big advertisers to make them spend more. And then basically what I did is I took some of that framework, put it into a technology company. We got about 5 or 6 letters of intent, and we were going to put it out into the world, and bam, COVID happened.
Yep.
So marketing budgets were lost. Everything changed overnight, and we pivoted into a marketing consultancy. That was actually really successful, but I hated being a consultant, and I really wanted to get back to doing a product. So yeah, that's how the first one went.
So how did you figure out where you sit in the scheme of things as a founder?
As a founder, you never know. It's like running with uncertainty. So I think basically I let every day happen and surrounded myself with good people and was constantly looking to like expand that network. So I did Antler actually and found some great people, some people who are very good friends now.
Yeah, who I think just kicked off, back in 2019 too?
Yeah, so I was cohort 2, so very early. So surrounded myself with great people. Also, just the energy of being surrounded by ideas and things that can change the world and make a difference. Oh, my God. I was on a high during COVID. I don't think many
totally
people would say that.
I was really lucky as a journalist because I was talking to all of these founders who, even when everything disappeared overnight, found the next direction. And that was incredibly inspiring and uplifting because it was all about finding solutions no matter how bad things got. They were on to the next big thing.
Absolutely. Like in corporate, I was always an idea person. I had notebooks full of ideas. Like every notebook had a ton of ideas written. And I remember coming out of corporate into startups and I was like, oh my God, it's just up to me whether this idea happens or not. And that was such a liberating thought. I just ran with it. And even when there was chaos, it's like, it's okay. It's up to me. I can find the direction. I can control change, which is a very empowering idea.
That's cool.
Absolutely. I know a lot of it can be very liberating. I'm interested to know, what was the scariest part about making that leap?
The finances. I was constantly like, are we going to be okay as a family? Like, we've got mortgages and, that sort of thing. But like, I actually learned that, through consulting and things like that, there are, especially if you've got a background and you've got kind of like big names or, you've got skills that you can provide to others, there are ways to make money. And so that kind of freed up that thinking. Also, my husband was earning, so like big props to him for supporting me and going, yeah, you do it, you quit. Sure, I'll just do the 9 to 5 boring stuff.
Oh, it's cool, but you need that background.
You do.
So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So the consultancy thing, Startup 3?
Startup 3 is Hoopsy, and my co-founder's still continuing it. It was featured on Bridget Jones's new movie about a boy. So the branding...
All you need is you need to mention on Taylor Swift's next album now.
I know, right?
I don't know if you want to be on this album though.
Yeah. Maybe for her, like, if she has a baby. Well, who knows? So, yeah, it was featured on there. I walked out of that business early because we just had very differing visions, but it was a great run. In 6 months. We developed a prototype, took it to market, and we started with the filing of like the FDA, TGA clearances and everything like that. So that was like a rapid 6 months, especially when I had never done anything in the retail space. So that was a whirlwind of a learning experience. And she's now continuing it and raising funding. She expanded it to UK and now is expanding in the US.
I'm going to stop you there for that moment because going back to relationships, how did you get to that point and have that discussion about, I've loved what we've done, but I need to step away?
It came from a number of things. So one was so we initially decided that the product was going to be it was going to be a concierge for women's health, but driven by products. So products was part of it, but the tech concierge was part of it as well. So it's an integrated experience because we all know how women's health is. And then it was a series of rapid decisions being made that I felt more and more uncomfortable with. But ultimately what it came down to is that her vision was a manufacturing plant and mine was this whole world where the products and the technology are combined to deliver a better service and better consumer outcomes. So when the visions are so divergent, it's an easy one and we're still friends and like it's all great. So yeah.
Absolutely. I feel like those are the types of things, if you can't get alignment on that, they're probably not going to ever find alignment ever. Like on that particular thing, it's too important.
It's not easy to compromise on that. I think especially it's a marathon, it's not a sprint and we sprinted. But if we kept sprinting in the same way, we would have gone completely different directions.
Yeah. So now we're at Nice To.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Nice To actually came in the period where I had finished up with my third startup and I was like, okay, what am I going to do next? Because I have to constantly be doing something. I actually burnt out a lot after the third one because I did 3 consecutive startups. And I did a lot of reflection. Things happened during COVID. And actually a lot of it stemmed from my grandpa. So my grandpa was this amazing person who... he was self-sufficient from the age of 4 and in fact earned for his family. So like he was incredible. And my mum is one of 5 siblings. And so he brought up this family from scratch, invested. But not only that, I found out during when he passed away, people were coming and telling us stories and people were like, he actually was the one that helped me start my business and this is what's happening. He helped my child get into university and now they're a doctor, now they're a lawyer. Like all these wonderful stories. And I was like, my God, if he as one person who had to do it from scratch himself can create such a ripple effect, I'm in this startup world. And there's so many people that actually don't get the opportunities. So what if I can use even my networks alone to make a difference in their lives? So that's how it started, and that's the deep why.
So you're riffing on Maslow on this one with the name, aren't you?
Well, no.
No, because that was my grandfather used to give me the Maslow hierarchy of needs lecture all the time, you know, especially as I want.
I want to know your interpretation before I tell you why the name came about.
Oh, well, he always used to sort of say that there are the basics that you must have and, you know, and then there's the things that would be nice to have and, you know, and he would point out to me, and this was a moral compass thing, that sometimes the things that you think you'd really like are not the things that you actually need, was the lesson.
I like it, but how nice too the name came about is it's all about seeing humans as humans, and so when we greet anyone, we say nice to meet you,
Yeah.
right? So it's actually opening the conversation to get to know someone on a true level instead of judging them for what they look like, their gender, their color, all of those things. So it's really about the fundamentals of being a human, and so Nice too, the purpose is about improving representation in the startup ecosystem with two goals. One, which is creating the technology companies of the future that serve all of us rather than a few of us. And also being able to spread the generational wealth that occurs. If I'm in a very privileged position now, it's because of the sacrifices that my grandpa made, that my parents and grandparents made, my parents made. So it kind of filters on for generations.
Absolutely. I feel like that's such a powerful thing in your career to be so driven by impact. And that's something that ripples across as well into your role and co-founding Press Play Ventures. I think alone, I'm going to pull up some stats. You've helped 120 women launch 104 startups and boosted women founders in Victoria by 12% in 18 months. That is just insane.
That is getting shit done.
Yeah, absolutely. How are you finding, I mean, from your own experience, making that leap, how is that translating, I guess, your experience and helping more women do the same?
Yeah, I mean, all of us in the team, so Sangeeta, Isaac, Poonam and I, like, we're all very deeply driven by impact. Some of us have been founders, some of us have been delivering programs for years. So Isaac has been delivering startup programs for 10 years and has supported more than 1,000 founders, right? So we came in with deep knowledge of what's required from what we wished we had when we were initially founders, and also like what we see in the programs we run and what founders are missing. And I think that's been hugely helpful in the way that we've shaped the program. And also, like, we care so deeply that we shape all the experiences that women founders go through, hopefully shielding them a little bit from the realities, but at the same time going, we're going to introduce you to warm intros in the ecosystem so that you have a good start at least.
So the Press Play Venture numbers are incredible. The other part that you've done with this is that it's extraordinary is going back to what you were saying about feeling like you had your midlife crisis, you know, but too young. A lot of the women who are going from corporate careers, so this sounds very much like your experience that you're teaching, are in mid-30s, and they're just having this pivot in how they live their lives and going on to become startup founders. What is the lesson that you want them to learn through Press Play that inspires them to go down the path that you've gone down?
So I think one of the reasons we decided to focus on corporate women was because that was our experience, but also because it was during COVID, so many redundancies were happening and things like that were happening. And what we've seen in the women that do Press Play is that they actually walk out with a mindset that, you know, they are the founders, they are the CEOs, they are the owners of the business. And that's so empowering. You don't get that in corporate always. Like, you have glass ceilings, you're told so many things about yourself which aren't true. And what I think we love our women walking away with is a complete shift in the mindset of it's up to you. You're empowered. You're more than capable. And this is like, it's up to you.
And there are some extraordinary numbers. 2/3 of them are mid-career over 35, 60% are multicultural, and 3/4 of them have never been near a startup before in their lives. So it's quite a dramatic shift. You must find great joy in sort of seeing that light bulb come on in these women. And, of course, what happens next? Because, of course, you've already had some early success with some of the startups involved.
Yeah, I mean, we honestly could not be prouder. Like, some of the biggest validation comes from the stories we hear from these women. So Ellen Gonda from Gone Global has raised investment after the program. She was in cohort 1, which means in a year she was able to do that. There's another founder automating and changing the way ledger systems work, and hopefully she'll raise money soon.
It was
Can't mention
1.6 million pre-seed,
Yeah.
which is pretty damned impressive for Gone Global.
Yeah, I mean, well, they're on an incredible mission where they want to prevent people from having needles for IVF. And so they're looking at different ways of doing that. And so much power to them. I'm so glad that we get to play a small part in their journey, because ultimately it's the founder and their ability to drive the success, but we just get to instigate a little.
And then, there's Umbrellas, which is in LaunchVic's Civic Labs program. And of course, LaunchVic helped you guys get cracking down there, and your ambition now is to go national and global.
Yeah, exactly. We found so much interest just in Victoria, and we were like, okay, we need to spread the wings. So we did a soft launch of a national program. So this cohort is more national. But I think in future years, we want to definitely spread our wings more beyond Australia. So look at global opportunities as well.
So if I was a state government, perhaps one close to where we live, who was looking at backing female founders, what would you say to them about investing in an area like this?
Support the supporters.
Yep.
Because I think we can spend hours doing research, going, what's the problem, without ever making progress on the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And we are deep in the weeds. We know exactly what's happening. We've had examples that are working, and so back the other people who are supporting women, not just women, but I think coming back to Nice Choose mission, it's about representation across the board. I feel like where investment goes at the moment is very homogenous, and so I think there are so many people missing out, which means we're missing out on technology that could change all of our lives.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree with that more. It's going back to what Pete was saying.
Yep.
It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. Obviously, you've got a lot of measures behind you. You've got lots of proof cases, but in terms of what you've achieved with your career, I want to know, how do you personally measure your success, and how do you make sure that you're charting towards that North Star for your career?
It's a really difficult one. I tend to not look at it as my career versus personal, and let me be honest, the lines blur a lot. So it's actually how happy I'm feeling.
I like
because
that.
It comes back to things like financial security. It comes back to the impact I'm making. It comes back to, am I actually doing what I love? And, am I ticking all those boxes? And I can wholeheartedly say, yes, I absolutely am.
I feel like that's such a realistic way to look at that, because at the end of the day, the best thing you can do for yourself, your company, is look after yourself and make sure that you're in it for the long run. That's awesome.
I mean, I know a lot, like the typical founder trope is to, work endless hours and eat 2-minute noodles and do all that sort of stuff. But I think
Red balls.
yeah. I really see it differently. I think you can find balance in what you're doing, because you need to put your oxygen mask on before you put anyone else's.
Absolutely. What do you do when you slow down, and how do you reflect on how that's all going, I guess?
So I've actually found a coping mechanism for avoiding burnout, and that is to organize my house. So like getting containers and putting it all neat. And I don't know, there's something about that that's so beautiful. And it really helps calm me down, because then I'm not thinking all the time and I'm not wired. But
Please tell me your husband doesn't get into trouble for putting a container in the wrong spot, though.
no, my organization systems work and it maintains. So I'm really proud of it.
That's good. I feel like then if they are messed up, then you can just go and you get enjoyment out of cleaning it. It's a faultless system here.
Exactly.
I'll try that one with my wife, see how it goes down. Yeah.
I'd like to hear.
I don't take any responsibility for the outcome.
I want to ask about sibling rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
Because your fabulous sister Shilpa is the head of operations at Procure Pro, which is a construction procurement software startup. She, of course, was a finalist in the Future Leader Award, along with your co-founder, Poonam, from Press Play.
Yep.
The award ultimately went to Paz from the Community Collective. But, and I'm kind of glad that you didn't have to sort of be, elated and devastated at the same time. You can commiserate with both your co-founder and your sister. But how fierce are rivals are the pair of you, given you're both in the startup space and incredibly successful?
We're not rivals at all. And sorry if this is not the answer you wanted to hear.
Not
but
at all. I was just trying to be provocative. I figured you were as nice to each other as you could be.
Actually, I've been trying to convince her forever to work with me. So actually at the awards is when she was like, yeah, maybe, she didn't say it to me. She said it to someone else. Yeah, maybe one day we'll work together. And I was like, breakthrough. So I just think we're so similar in so many ways, but we're also so different. And I think it would just be so complementary if we work together. And I'm so proud of her. I'm the older sister. I know I don't look it. No, I'm kidding. But I'm just so proud of what she's done. She actually went from pharmacy to architecture and interior design to now ops at a startup.
It's like the ultimate rebrand.
This is the thing. They're just so incredibly talented and smart and competent. It's just like blows me away.
It's incredible. With all you've had similar sort of things, I guess, with your startups in terms of jumping from thing to thing. I'm always very interested in first and second and third time founders, or even the saying that they say the first time founders focus on the product, the second time founders focus on distribution, third time margin. What are you learning between the three steps, and what lessons are you carrying forward in Nice To that you weren't in the others?
Oh my God, it's exactly that flow that I learned in the first, second and third, along with like co-founder relationships and all of that stuff. But I think with Nice To, it's more about impact and intent. And so that is at the heart of everything we do. And it's kind of a crazy system that we've built, but it's working, where everything we do is with partners. So we do that so we can maximize our impact, because we're looking at representation as a whole, and that's not a small thing. It's not something one organization or one person can solve at all. So, for example, we've partnered with Catalyzer now, who do work with migrants and refugees, and we're launching an AI program for underrepresented founders and operators. And so, like, being able to do these things and partner on so many different initiatives gives us the room to create more impact. But it also feels like we're touching areas that we couldn't have if we were doing it just alone. So this is a completely different model, and I'm constantly learning and evolving it.
That's great. Better together.
I thought the lesson of starting your fourth startup was don't do it. But
There's no
seems like it's going
that.
just fine. So part of getting shit done is you get to plug the shit out of your startup when you come on this show. So what's your pitch to any founders listening or watching to get involved with Nice To?
There are so many programs, but right now the opportunities, the AI Shift program, it's really about how you can put AI into your business to increase the efficiency. And so applications are closing October 12th. So get in and apply. It's a completely
You got
free.
some work to do this weekend, people?
Yeah, it's not a tough application, but it's backed by City of Sydney because they want to see more businesses in the city and also working with AI. So yeah, apply by the 12th of October, so this weekend. But also just join our community because we have so many things that we're very intentional about for founders, operators, and also investors, but less so. And really, like we've thought about each of them, and they're things that will make a tangible impact. So get in touch. Also be involved in the community because, as I've told you before, it's the people you surround yourself with, and it's the best thing being surrounded by the best people.
Well, that kind of answers my last question, but I was going to ask, what can all of our individual listeners do on a personal level to help create a more diverse startup ecosystem?
Be intentional about it, because, like, let's say you're a founding team of 5 founders who are all Caucasian male. Think about your board, think about the diversity in your leadership team, because otherwise, diversity is not just about ticking a box. It's actually about diversity of thought. It's actually about being able to generate better financial returns. It's actually about thinking about the future in ways that you wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So it leads to great business outcomes. So be really intentional about it and do it for the right reasons.
I want to finish with an idea that I think came up with me last week, because I was thinking of Satya Nadella at Microsoft and how he wrote a book a couple of years ago where empathy in technology was a core part of his thinking and what he wanted to bring to Microsoft. I know empathy is a really important part of your thinking too. Just describe it in the tech context, because I think it's important for people who work in the space and are focused on so many different other areas to remember what it means as they build and design.
One of the best conversations I've had about empathy was with Sunita from Harrison AI.
Mm-hmm.
She's head of AI there. And she was taught, because it's a health product, empathy is such an important part of what they're building and what they're doing. And the way she described it was incredible. She was talking about how every algorithm decision they make is backed by the customer outcomes or the patient outcomes that it creates. And having that connection of that technology and human empathy, oh my God, I think it goes such a long way. It's something, otherwise we're going to be driven by robots, and like the human part of us is driven by empathy, even if we're not able to really realize it. If we disconnect from that, we're actually just going to lose a whole part of our beings.
Such a great point. Preethi, congratulations to the Press Play team on winning the GSD award. You are having an amazing impact, and it's just great to catch up and hear your story as well. Thanks for joining us on Startup 360.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a lovely conversation.
Well, another week. How's it going to be this weekend for you? Because I know the weather's going to be lovely. Are you sort of swimming yet?
No, I'm not swimming, but I'm a notoriously cold person, so I think it'll be another few more months for me. But it's getting, I've been doing a lot of gardening, and that's been really fun. That's been, my plants are starting to, I've got a tomato plant, and my first tomatoes have come through, so I'm going to be checking those out this weekend. What a fun weekend.
I was picking strawberries on the weekend, last weekend,
Already?
so that was pretty exciting.
Are they winter or summer plant?
Summer plant. Oh. Wimbledon and strawberries. Oh. I mean, I know it's winter here when that's happening, but yes, there are summer things.
True. There we go. Oh, great.
Yep.
They're early then.
Yep. And the mulberries are starting to ripen too.
Oh.
And I have a terrible story.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear it?
Of course.
So I heard movement in the tree the other night, and I went outside and I thought it was a possum. And so I shook the tree and 2 rats fell out of it.
Oh, yeah, that'll do it. It's not the thing you want to be
So
seeing.
I've now put a collar around the tree so that they can't climb up.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't want to have that repeat.
Yeah. On that joyful note.
On the topic of rats, let's move on.
Exactly. Sorry, folks. Didn't mean it. We might cut that bit out. It might stay in there because I'm going to get letters from the mulberry industry now sort of going, don't associate our product with rats, okay?
I was going to talk about silkworms, so I don't know if I was going in a better direction.
Oh, my God. I loved having silkworms when I was a kid.
So did I. That was going to say it was like a core memory for me is picking mulberry leaves for silkworms. And I remember I had like a pack of like 500 of them, and none of them, not a single one, cocooned and made anything, so it was a complete failure.
Well, see, now I want the silkworms. I've got the mulberry tree and I haven't got the silkworms, so
you've got the rats.
Pivoted. Yes. If only I could cocoon them and see what they fly into. But this is the end of Startup 360, not the end of the rats. This is a smart show. We might have to do this.
I'm going to have to
often
come
again.
back. This might be useful by the time we stop laughing. Oh my God. Okay.
Anyway, have a fantastic weekend. Of course, this is a Smart Co media production. Produced this week by Mikey. Thank you so much for that. Thanks also to Ella, to James, to Vanta for all of their support. Congratulations to Paris, who had her baby girl, member of our team this week. So that's pretty exciting. Don't forget, if you're a mad keen fan of this and you want to hear from more fabulous people like Preethi and everyone else, then subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or of course, YouTube. And don't forget to check out startupdaily.net. It's free. And of course, you'll get all the latest ANZ tech news for free as well. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Friday. Bye for now.